Hey, beautiful souls. What if I told you boundaries don't have to be harsh to be firm? That you can protect your peace without guilt, silence, or shutdowns. In this video, I want to talk about soft boundaries, the kind that honor your healing, your energy, and your growth. So if I were to explain what soft boundaries are, or what I mean by soft boundaries, the first thing I would say is that they're rooted in love, not defense. So this means your boundaries come from a place of self-respect, not self-protection. You're not setting walls to shut people out. You're creating loving parameters to protect your energy and your peace. Instead of saying things like, I'm done with everyone, you're saying, I need space to care for myself. Boundaries like this don't carry anger or blame. They carry intention and they carry clarity. I would also say soft boundaries are saying yes to yourself without having to say no in anger. So this is about catching your needs before they boil over. Many of us don't feel allowed to honor our own needs until we're exhausted, resentful, or ready to explode. But this principle reminds us you don't need to wait until you're fed up to honor your truth. You can say yes to rest, quiet, space, joy, gently, clearing, and ahead of time. And the last thing I would say is it's about noticing energy leaks before they become explosions. So energy leaks are those subtle drains we ignore, like people pleasing, over explaining, staying in conversations too long, giving beyond your capacity. If you don't catch them early, if you don't catch these energy leaks early, then they start adding up. And eventually you either shut down or you blow up. But by noticing these small leaks, you can pause, reset, and protect your peace before burnout takes over. So why do we struggle with boundaries? I sat here as I was going through and making my bullet points for this particular video. I was just wondering, why is it such a struggle for so many people to create boundaries? So like I said, they don't have to be hard. They can be soft boundaries. And I think one of the reasons is because we were raised to be nice maybe and not honest. From a young age, many of us, especially women, were taught that being likable was more important than being real. We learned to smile when uncomfortable, agree when we didn't, and prioritize others' comfort over our own truth. But being nice without honesty often means abandoning ourselves. And to me, it means being fake. It means living a lie. And that doesn't feel comfortable. Soft boundaries require honesty first with ourselves and then with others. And the second reason why I think, boundaries are so hard, or people are just afraid of boundaries. Again, it's all mindset, but it's this fear of conflict, fear that something's going to happen that we don't want to happen. Conflict can feel threatening when we've only seen it handled with yelling, silence, or shame. So we avoid hard conversations, hoping peace will follow. But peace without truth is just tension with a smile. And while it may look like peace on the outside, there's disruption happening on the inside. So internally, you're suffering. There's internal conflict. It may not be external conflict, but there's internal conflict, which can lead to resentment and explosion. But we got to remember, boundaries, they're not attacks, they're clarity. And clarity might feel uncomfortable, but it's not cruel. The goal isn't to avoid conflict, but to move through it with grace and intention. Conflict is inevitable. Conflict is going to happen, point blank and period. But it's about the way you handle the conflict. And conflict opens up doors to learn. So when I set boundaries, then my family learned more about me. My friends learned more about me. My employees learn about me. My employers learn about me. People learn about who Sherry G really is. And so if you don't set boundaries, they're getting the fake you. You're living a lie. You're lying to them. And then there's this guilt around putting yourself first. So for many of us, or for many women, for many people, guilt shows up the moment they say no, cancel a plan, or, express a need. Because we've been taught that being good means being selfless, even to our own detriment. But putting yourself first, in my opinion, it's not selfish at all. It's sacred. And I'm going to say that again. Putting yourself first isn't selfish. It's sacred. When you protect your energy, you show up with more authenticity, more presence, and more love. Guilt isn't proof you're doing something wrong. It's proof you're doing something new. So just so you get it, and I wanted to go ahead and give you some examples of what soft boundaries are. But here's an example, or here's a few examples, 3 examples. One is, I'd love to connect, but I need some quiet time tonight. So not too long ago, I have this group of friends that we get together every now and then for different things, for celebrating birthdays, celebrating special events, what have you. Since the pandemic, we haven't been gathering together as often, but recently we one of the girls reached out to the rest of us. One of the ladies, I should say, reached out to the rest of us and wanted to get together. But for me, I just felt like it was a week where I just really needed to sit and be by myself. Y'all, I can't tell you how I value my alone time. I know that's kind of scary for some people, but I actually value my alone time. because I am a very introspective person, and my energy comes from inward. I don't get energy from being extroverted. I get energy in my alone time. So that's how I rejuvenate. And it's always been like that. Maybe because I'm Pisces, maybe because I'm that water sign. But be that as it may, I need to have my alone time just to gather myself. And I've always been like that. I understand it more as an adult. I didn't really understand it as a child. I just knew I needed to be alone. And I looked forward to my alone time. I always have. So, but this particular weekend, as much as I missed them, I just needed to be alone. So, and I am grateful that I have friends who respect that. So it's okay to say, hey, I love to connect with you guys. I miss you guys and all of that. But tonight, I just need to have some quiet time. That's okay. That's being truthful. It's being honest. You're not showing up begrudgingly, because then when you show up like that, you're not giving your best anyway. And it's okay, right? And here's another example. I'm not available for this conversation right now, but I care. Now, you might use other words. This, again, is just an example. Because there might be some hard conversations that you have to have with your husband, with your children, with an employee. And it's okay to say, hey, you know what? This conversation is really important, and this is a conversation that we really need to have, but let's schedule it for another time. And then actually scheduling it for another time. I've actually had to do that with my husband, and then I also had to do that with an employee once. And I always ask my employees, hey, it's time for your one-on-one. How are you feeling today? Because sometimes our environment can be, especially since COVID and dealing with people, it can be kind of hard. So I let them know, hey, we do need to have this conversation. This conversation is going to happen. But if you're not feeling it today, we can put it on a calendar for another day and another time. But I hold them accountable to that. And going back to when I was talking about me and my husband, it was a conversation, something we had to really talk about. But I wasn't in the headspace to just do it and to be present, 100% present. But that conversation was important, and it was something that was important to him. And I always ask him, is it okay? Because right now I'm not going to be able to be present. I'll try. I'll do it if you want me to. So we scheduled it for a weekend where we can just go to dinner and then just talk about it away from the house, away from everything. And that actually turned out to be much better for both of us. And we actually really enjoyed it. So that's okay. If you know a conversation has to be had and you really care, you don't want to brush it off, but just maybe you're not in the headspace. Maybe your energy's off. And you're not going to be open. Your heart's not going to be open. You're going to be closed. And you're not going to be able to receive. So it's best to be honest, because again, those energy leaks start happening. And then that causes explosion. That causes anger. It causes the conflict that you don't want to have to actually happen, because you weren't honest in the first place by saying, hey, I just, I'm not in the right headspace. And then the next example is turning your phone off without explanation. Y'all, I do that all the time. I do it a lot. I'm like, I don't feel like being bothered. I just don't. Like I said, I am a very introspective person. So I put my phone down. I don't even pay it any attention. And now with all the stuff that's going on, especially with social media, I find that I put it down a lot and just walk away from it. I'm like, nah, because it's some of the things that are just going on, and the things that just draw people in, the things that they talk about. I'm like, I'm tired of seeing this on my headline. I'm sorry, in my timelines, and all of the performances that people put on for social media. It just drives me batty. So I'm like, but not only that, I just, I'm not a big talk on the phone person anyway. So yeah, I have no problem putting my phone down. And then, like my family, we have like a family chat. Then we have a chat with the grandkids. And sometimes it's just too much chatting going on. So, and then I have a chat with me and my siblings. So sometimes it's just too much. And I just have to put my phone down and walk away. I don't want to be tied to my electronics. So those are just some examples of, what soft boundaries could look like. I can give you another example, something that I started doing like years ago. I say about 10 years ago. What I would do is once I come home, I've been dealing with people all day, and this is before working at the hotel. So it's probably been about 15 years ago that I started this, but I was actually a corporate facilitator for this large financial institution. So, dealing with people, training them, answering their questions, facilitating their learning, and making sure they understood systems, walking through the systems, making sure they understood all the conceptual pieces, the customer service pieces, etc., 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 understanding the products and services, and then driving through traffic to get home. And then you open the door and there's your dogs. And then at that time there was my son, he was there, and then my husband, and everybody's like on you. So what I started doing, because I noticed that my energy was leaking and it wasn't good stuff. Okay. It was bad. I'm like, okay, I'm always frowning. I'm coming home. I'm snappy with them. This is not cool. So what I would do is pull into the driveway, and before I pull my car in the garage, I would sit there and listen to music and kind of just unwind. And I still do that same thing today. We were talking to some neighbors the other day, my husband and I, and their daughter pulled up. She was just getting off from work, and she pulled up, and she was just sitting in her car in the driveway. They were across the street at our house, and we were out there talking, and they were looking like, why is it taking her so long to get out of the car? And I said, well, maybe she does what I do. And my husband said, oh yeah, Sherry, when she comes home, she never comes straight in the house. She kind of sits there. I have a 50-pound dog that's waiting on the other side of the door. And she jumps up and she likes to hug me, and then she's grabbing my hand because she wants to go outside and play. Mind you, my husband already takes her outside to play when he gets off. He gets off before me. He goes in a lot earlier, so he gets off earlier. So he's already done that. But she just wants to have her alone time with me outside. So I'm like, it's a lot. And I just need, because I found myself even fuzzing at her sometimes if I would just come in before sitting out there. So yeah, I returned back to that practice because I'm like, I can't be fussing at Chloe. It's not her fault. She has no idea that I had to drive through traffic, that I dealt with people all day. And that's not her problem. That's mine. So anyway, y'all, those are some examples of soft boundaries. So in closing, I'd like to leave you with some healing wisdom, what I call healing wisdom. And so remember to say to yourself, I'm not choosing distance, I'm choosing direction. And affirm this to yourself. I can be soft and still have boundaries. I can be kind and still say no. So y'all, let me know in the comments, where are you being called to protect your peace more gently? Don't forget, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll talk to you soon. Ciao. Hey, it's me, Sherry G. I just wanted to thank you again for spending this moment with me. If today reminded you that you're still growing, then we're doing something right. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that little bell so you never miss a moment of growth, grace, and good soil. Until next time, stay rooted, stay radiant, and remember, you're not done blooming yet.